Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So today, we got to talk about a new Bitcoin law that forecasts a plus 300% gain, or gains, is coming soon. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about what is going on with Germany today. Did they sell more? And the answer is yes. And what about those ETFs? And everything else that's going on in the world today. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Good morning. We're starting out the day better than last night. We're at above 57,000, right? We're still kind of going sideways. Haven't been able to break 58 for a few days now. So are we going to see that come? Are we going to see a reversal? Are we going to see Bitcoin back above 60,000 soon? Well, there are a few things that may make this happen, right? U.S. market, let's see. Starting out with NASDAQ turning green. That's pretty good. But I think the main thing, one of the main things that can drive Bitcoin and crypto upwards in a big way is this Thursday. We got a couple of days. Well, Thursday and Friday. CPI inflation and PPI inflation, Thursday and Friday. And of course, jobless claims and consumer sentiment. Basically, all these data can pump up the market. Okay, obviously, if inflation is going down, that is a good thing. And then, of course, the economic data like jobless claims, how many people are without jobs, and consumer sentiment, basically how bullish people are about spending. If those also show that they're weakening, the economy is getting worse in the U.S., that would be a good thing because, again, that would give this guy right here, Fed Chair Powell, a lot of reasons to cut the Fed fund rate sooner than later. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see. The inflation numbers have been surprisingly going downwards. And yes, I do think there's like some kind of manipulation going on. No, I don't think inflation is truly coming down, not the way the data is showing. And there are categories now that are excluded. But overall, if Wall Street likes it, things will pump. Okay, so we got that to look forward to the rest of this week. What else do we have to look forward to? Well, Germany, they may be running out of Bitcoin soon. So last night, when I was doing my stream, they were down to 1.55 billion. They sold approximately $1 billion worth of Bitcoin yesterday. At least they transferred out of their wallet. Their wallet has a lot of inflows, outflows now, right? I don't know what the hell they're doing. Sometimes they send crypto to Coinbase and then they send it right back. They send it to Kraken and send it right back. I mean, they're doing it all over the place. But the overall number is diminishing. So since last night to now, they sold approximately another $250 million of the Bitcoin. $250 million. Quite a lot. And that's okay. At this point, I'd rather see us just like kind of rip off the Band-Aid, right? Rather than a slow peel. If they want to sell off $1 billion per day, let them. But the very good news is this. Yesterday, they sold $1 billion to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin did not go down. Okay, that's pretty promising. Today, it seems like, well, since last night to now, they sold another $250 million, and Bitcoin did not go down. So that is very, very positive, right? So let them sell their remaining 1.3 billion. Once that's over, that's going to leave a lot of sell pressure. Again, why is this done on the open market, on Coinbase and Kraken, rather than the OTC market? No one knows. But there are people that are buying, Wall Street's buying, to counteract the effect of this. So, pretty positive, right? Again, another catalyst. Once this is over, it seems like they're done selling the small amounts. Once this is over, and they're selling, maybe by the end of this week, if they're selling $250, $500 billion a day, they will be out by the end of this week. That would also be very positive. Another catalyst that can finally push us forward and above 60,000 once again, which could be coming like right around the corner. Okay. Now, who are the people that are countering the selling? Well, Wall Street. Yesterday, last night, I covered the numbers. We didn't get BlackRock's official numbers. Now we do. In total, we had close to $300 million of inflow into the US-based ETFs yesterday. Okay, 300 million. BlackRock alone took $187 million. Fidelity at 61 million and all the others, basically 300 million. That is the largest inflow since months. Okay, what does that mean? That means Wall Street is buying the dip. There are many on Wall Street that recognize this is a unique opportunity where you have one country dumping its entire bag, that's dropping Bitcoin's price, and this is time to load up. Or maybe this was the plan all along, because it's not just Germany selling. The US government supposedly selling at the same time. Is it all Larry Fink's plan to drop prices so that he can pick up? Because BlackRock continues to buy more and more and more and more and more and more. There's no outflows. Look at the very right, the left side. You see how there's no reds. They only have inflows. They don't have outflows. Everyone else seems to have outflows. BlackRock does not. BlackRock is all inflows, nonstop, right? Maybe this is Larry Fink's doing. I don't know. But what I do know is there are people that recognize this is a great buying opportunity, and they are loading up as much as they can while prices are low. That's how you're supposed to do it. You got to load up. You got to load up when everyone else is fearful. That's how you win. That's why there's so many self-made multimillionaires and billionaires on Wall Street that say, I don't look at charts. I don't try to predict things. I just buy when other people are panicking, right? Especially when it comes to Bitcoin. I've shown you guys so many charts, and I'll show you more charts. This is the one asset you want to hold and accumulate as much of while you can within your lifetime, right? But besides the US-based ETFs, you got Australia. Australia is about to open a second spot ETF because, again, why not? You're having massive inflows all over the place, right? Not just in the US, around the world, Australia, down Hong Kong. You got ETPs in Europe. You have Canada. You have a lot of different regions that want Bitcoin, right? And, I don't know how accurate this website is. I think it's pretty accurate, but I use it all the time, Bitcoin Treasuries. Just to remind you guys that the big boys, okay, including like the Michael Saylors of the world, MicroStrategy, and all the companies that hold Bitcoin, and now you include ETFs in there, 12%, over 12%, 12.5% right here is controlled by the big boys. Okay, and again, this doesn't even include the old addresses like what the miners or Satoshi and all these other guys, what they hold, right? No one knows like the early guys, but the new people, right? Like the ETFs, MicroStrategy and HUD-8 and Tesla and all these guys and some of the countries, right? They accumulate so much, it's over 10% now. That is a crazy amount of the supply. So the big boys, the smart money, they continue to accumulate while retail investors, unfortunately, a lot of retail investors panic over small dips, over dips in general, over any kind of volatility. They get scared out. And unfortunately, that's why the big whales, the big institutions, the big money, they continue to win. Bitcoin is the only asset class where the big money, the institutions, are actually second or slow to adopt. Okay, we know Bitcoin was driven by retail. Bitcoin was created by the people for the people. And obviously, Bitcoin accumulation has been done by the people for 10 plus years. Now the institutions are coming in. So they're actually slow to adopt. This is one of the only categories or only asset classes where they are slow to adopt, right? But when they come in with billions and trillions of dollars. And they will, at times, manipulate the market for their own gains, right? You can't fall for it. You can't fall for it because what they're really doing is just accumulating behind the scenes, right? And unfortunately, it's working. So that's why short term, I do believe ETFs are great for Bitcoin's price movement, obviously, right? ETFs is removing a lot of Bitcoin from circulation. And of course, price is affected by supply and demand. And if demand is going up and supply is going down, that's great. But long term, do we want to see this 12% go up to 20%, 30%, 40%? No, we don't want to see that happen. We certainly don't want to see that happen, right? So that's why you guys got to stay strong and focus on the future, right? And don't get scared out when there is FUD around the corner, right? All right, now, something else that will probably help Bitcoin reverse and come up soon is that the miners, okay, for whatever reason, they were also selling. Not for whatever reason. I know why, because a lot of miners really struggled after the halving event, right? They held out as much as they can, but due to the increased costs to produce some Bitcoin, a lot of miners just couldn't take it, especially with Bitcoin's price falling. They're in a negative, so a lot of them had to sell and close shop and so forth. But the sell pressure is weakening tremendously, okay? So along with that, and Germany possibly being over soon, I mean, these are all great things, right? The only thing left is Mt. Gox. All the Bitcoin that they're going to distribute, are they going to be held or going to be sold, right? I guess we'll see. But little by little, we're getting through all the little fuddish things, little bit at a time. And that's why Bitcoin will continue forward and break its previous high and continue forward, right? Now, from a technical standpoint, if you look at something very simple, very, very simple, weekly RSI, right? Obviously, if you look at how high RSI got to the 90s, right? That was when Bitcoin first hit $73,000. So you could make an argument, yeah, Bitcoin is a little overbought, too heated, and it started coming down, right? But the second time we hit 72,000, RSI was only at 70. This time, right, with our recent drop, RSI kind of reset, right? Went back to the mid-50s, and the last time this happened, the last time RSI came down to these levels was when Bitcoin was at $26,000, okay? Less than half. But it does look like we are bouncing off and we're reversing upwards. So that is very, very positive. But again, this shows you guys how fast and how far we have come within such a short amount of time. A lot of people forget this. We've been going sideways for 4 months now. But prior to those 4 months, we were below 40,000, 30,000, 20,000. It wasn't too long ago when Bitcoin was still below 20,000, right? So you got to keep that in the back of your mind. If you're scared, when in doubt, zoom out. And there are still a lot of short-term patterns, of course, that are showing very bullish things. For example, you could argue that we're in a descending channel. And what happens in a descending channel is actually a positive thing. It's a positive pattern where once Bitcoin breaks out, right, it looks like if we do, especially with all the catalysts I've been talking about, right, if we do get that push, we break out, well, that's when we make our new high. That's when we break past our previous 73,000 and we continue forward. And we know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, right? If you zoom out and you look at, well, where we are now versus previous halving events, again, you realize that we are moving exactly according to plan. If you look at prior halving events around this time, you don't see any breakouts. Breakouts don't happen usually until the latter half of the year, usually Q4, usually around September, October timeframe. And we're not there yet, but we had an accelerated cycle because of ETFs. And I know expectations got shifted, same with me, because we hit a new high months before the halving event back in March, right? So things look a little bit different now. But, you know, even with the dip right now, you look at what transpired before, we're ahead of the game. If you look at July of last cycle and the previous cycle, still nowhere close to breaking previous highs. This time around, we already did it. So we are ahead of the game. But again, patterns look very, very similar. Now, the last thing I'll say about Bitcoin is this new law. It's not new, it's something new to me, called the power law that shows Bitcoin will go up 300% by late of 2025. I argue it's going to be more than that, okay? But this is what the law looks like. You have this cloud, right? And then you have this fractal max and mean and support in years ahead. And the red is where we are right now, okay? And you can see we broke out of the cloud. We broke out hugely because of the ETFs, right? We're coming back to earth, so to speak. But what this shows is, yes, it will start increasing, accelerating. What's interesting is, according to the author or the creator of this has held true for the last 10 years. And this is actually showing a super cycle. This doesn't show that Bitcoin tops out at the end of 2025, even though we will see a tremendous gain in 2025, plus 300%, pushing us over $100,000. But this is showing that we will top out in 2026. And if that happens, if we do that, and we do have a super cycle like this, that would be absolutely insane, right? We have never had a 4-year cycle being broken. We've always had crypto winter to follow directly after Bitcoin peak. But this is showing something otherwise, right? So it'll be quite interesting to see what happens. And this guy also has a really cool, I was looking at a really cool animation. I'm going to play this for you guys because it actually does look pretty cool. Log time scale. The amount of time it took to create this is probably pretty astronomical. So this is predicting that we will hit $1 million by 2031 for Bitcoin. 2031 or 2032. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Think about it, okay? If you knew for a certainty that Bitcoin was going to hit $1 million each by 2031, which is 7 years from now. 7 years flies by really quickly. For those of you guys that are a little bit older, you know what I'm talking about, okay? If you're in your 20s, maybe you think 7 years is a long time. But 7 years for $1 million Bitcoin, if you knew that for sure, wouldn't you put everything you had into Bitcoin? Like, seriously, right? If you knew in 7 years, even like if you expand it out to 10 years, if you knew within the next 10 years, Bitcoin was going to hit $1 million each, wouldn't that just make you want to sell everything and put every penny you had into Bitcoin, right? But the reality is we don't know 100% certainty. But if we do go by history, then it will happen. This is what Saylor's talking about. Saylor says he will accumulate Bitcoin until it's $8 million or $10 million each, right? But if you go by history, every single cycle we form a higher higher and higher low. We have never broken through that, and we continue forward. And this cycle could push us above $200,000. And if that happens in the next cycle, we can see $1 million, right? And maybe we don't. Even the next cycle, we see $500,000 at the top. And then finally, the one after that, $1 million. It's like, why would you not accumulate as much as you can while you can? Because having just a single Bitcoin could make you a millionaire. Just take a second to think about that. It's crazy. It's crazy. But even if it was guaranteed, right? And you tell people that, most people still would not act any different. They'll say, 10 years is too long. I don't want to wait for 10 years. I don't want $1 million in 10 years. I want it today. But you know how many people never become millionaires with that kind of thinking? It's unfortunate. Anyways, that's the last thing I want to say about Bitcoin. A few other little things. Staked Ethereum hits 27% of supply as ETF trading starts looming. A lot of people are looking forward to this. Okay, this is a big catalyst that could be coming this month too. The problem is when you have so many people staking Ethereum, especially into like the liquid staking providers like Lido, it becomes a little centralized, right? And we have seen periods like this before with like, what is it? When Ethereum was still proof of stake or proof of work with the mining farms. What do you call it? It's not mining farms. Yeah, I guess the shared mining farms. Some of them hit over 50%. Or in accumulation, they hit over 50% of the supply. And that's never good, right? You don't want to suffer a 51% attack. So this is starting to be a little bit of a concern, but we'll see. Overall, ETFs should be coming soon. And I think it could be a big catalyst to drive more money, institutional money into this space, right? And of course, Solana ETF is right after that. Van Eyck just filed, 21 shares filed, right? Still waiting for someone like Fidelity or BlackRock to come in the game. But once they file, it's game over. I don't know what that means exactly, but it will be very positive. Very positive for Solana and also very positive for the entire space. And by the way, Bonk has just flipped above WIF. I don't know why Bonk is going on a crazy rally right now. But a lot of memes will benefit from a Sol ETF, that's for sure. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Alrighty. Let me scroll up. Pray your heaven. Greetings from England. Welcome. Umar, welcome. I'm my hero. Welcome. All right. Alex, welcome. A lot of welcomes. Carpton ETH. I can't even pronounce that, but thank you for that super chat. The DL says check MSI. Nope, not go check that. Someone tried to bring it up yesterday already. Stupid name. Jay says, stop wasting money. Anytime you buy some unnecessary item, you miss opportunity to put more into Bitcoin. Well, that is true. Okay, that is true. And I do agree to some extent, or to most extent. Like, you know, you could always opt out of a coffee at Starbucks. You could opt out of, you know, eating out. you got out of like a movie or something, yes. But you gotta spend every so often, right? There are a lot of people, and you hear it with, you know, like my parents' generation. A lot of them have worked their whole lives saving up, and then once they hit retirement, something happens and you know, they can't even spend their money, right? You hate to see that kind of thing happen. Um, so I do agree. There are a lot of unnecessary things, or most people could be more frugal than they are. But I still think it's important to spend some money, right? Especially on like family vacations and stuff like that, where you're making memories with your family. I think that's okay. But you don't want to overdo that too. Abdul says, stop wasting money on meme coins, BTC all the way. Well, that ain't wrong either. But you know, memes are fun. They're like a lottery ticket. If you hit the right one, it'll make you a lot of money and gain and help you buy more Bitcoin. That's the best way to look at it. Will capital from Mt. Gox flow through to altcoins? It depends. A lot of the creditors, once they get their Bitcoin, are they going to convert it to alt? Maybe some will. That could be true. Daniel is asking, I'm holding 1.3 Bitcoin in my retirement ETF. When my retirement plan is 7 years, is it safe to keep your Bitcoin inside the ETFs? Well, I mean, if you're buying like IBIT, which is BlackRock's ETF, right? Do you think BlackRock is gonna rip you off? Probably in fees, but not like they're not gonna disappear with your Bitcoin, right? And plus, holding an ETF um, does not allow you to convert to physical Bitcoin. If you're truly worried, then just go and buy some physical Bitcoin rather than the ETFs. But to answer your question, no, I don't think with BlackRock or Fidelity or any of the big fund issuers, they're going to rip you off. They're not going to run off with your Bitcoin, so to speak. Is Orca a good buy? Not really. No. When it comes to exchanges on Solana or DEXs, just go with Jupiter. Jupiter all the way. Patrick Davidson says, George, please reconsider your definition of altcoins. Memes shouldn't be bumped in with utility coins. Okay. The true definition of altcoins is anything that's not Bitcoin. That's the definition. Anything that's not Bitcoin is considered an altcoin. Now you could break out altcoins into different kind of buckets or segments or categories like memes and gaming and DPIN and DeFi, but they're all altcoins. Phantom. A lot of people still support Phantom, and I don't have anything against them. But they're coming out with a new Sonic chain, and I don't know how that's gonna be. It's supposed to be better. It's supposed to be better all around. The unlock schedule. Yeah, it looks like they're done with all their unlocking, which is great. Um, But yeah, they're gonna come out with a new chain, and it's called Sonic, and they're gonna have a new token, and the chain is supposed to be better, more interoperability with Ethereum, and be faster. But I don't know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna have dual chains? I'm not quite sure if they're having dual chains or what. It sounds like they're gonna have dual chains with dual tokens. So then I don't know what happens to the Phantom token. Like that's what I don't know. And I don't know when Sonic is supposed to be coming out. What happened to VRA, Veracity? I've never liked that project. I just found this like, I don't know why people liked it. It's just the premise of it didn't make a lot of sense. Well, Chair Powell is talking in front of the Senate. Nvidia having a good day. That's great. MicroStrategy having a okay day. Coinbase having a little bit of a green day. So all good. Tesla up 1% too. Not bad. Nvidia, though. Nvidia is the one. Pat Jr., peace, George. Thanks for all the wisdom you've been dropping. I'm still learning DCAing. Thank you, and congrats. Congrats. Yeah, I'm not going to look at that MSI. I don't know why you guys feel like you can raid my chat and force me to look at it, but I'm not. Even if you send me a $50 super chat. Joe Stringer is asking, have you seen Bored Apes? They have a floor price of 9 ETH now. They were at 150 ETH at peak. Man, you know, when they were like 100 or like 50, you know, I was like really jealous of people that had a lot of them or like OGs of NFT. Now they're at 9. Wow. Really no one. I know I own 2 valuable ones. They're not really valuable. Not anymore. Other side NFTs and they're worth garbage now. I pay like 8 ETH for each one, and now they're worth, one is worth 1 ETH and one is worth like 0.1 ETH. They're all like, I don't know what happened. Yuga Labs was on top of the world in 2021, and now they seem like they're gonna go bankrupt. They bought out CryptoPunks and they bought out every single like major meme collection, and look at it now. This cycle, certainly things change. It does show you every cycle is different. 2021, you could argue that it was a cycle of NFTs. People were making money left and right by creating collections. And also companies like Yuga Labs took advantage of it and made billions with mints and fees and all that stuff, right? But look at them now. This cycle is cycle of memes. You have so many memes that have gone up to plus 1 billion. And that's why you have like celebrities coming in and stuff. They all want their share. But NFTs does not look like they're coming back this cycle. There's no one talking about NFTs. Everyone has moved on to meme coins. The Bored Apes community is cringe. Yeah, I don't hang out with a lot of NFT people, to be honest. So I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like so many people were hanging up their NFTs as art in their background, showing off what they hold, and I get it. When they were worth like, some of them went for like 1,000 ETH or something like that. It's crazy, crazy. But that's just not the case anymore. If Bored Apes ever dropped to like a 1 ETH each as a floor price, I would pick some up at that point. Do you think Say is a good buy right now? I don't know what to think about all these chains out of Cosmos. They all were very, very, very hot back in the day, right? Look at that. From November to March, and now they've gone down quite a bit. Can they come back? I certainly think so. But, since the peak till now, it's been pretty brutal for all these Cosmos chains, including Injective and all these others. If you look at this, though, there are going to be a lot of unlocks, okay, over the next few years. So a little concerning. Their fully diluted market cap is already 3.1 billion, so that could limit their upside a little bit. By the end of 2025, their supply will be almost double. So that's certainly going to limit their upside a little bit. But when FOMO hits, it doesn't really matter. When FOMO hits, things just go upwards, right? But I will say versus some of the other chains that did not or does not have a unlock schedule, they may not do as well. Simrun. 30% of the market is meme. Do you feel once more liquidity comes in 2025, it'll flow into NFTs? I don't know. I honestly don't know. You never want to say never, because NFTs, if there's so much money in the market, let's say in the end of 2025, memes are all like 10 billion plus and everyone has so much money, can some of that money flow back into NFTs? Sure, that's a possibility, but right now it just seems like everyone is putting money into more memes, right? People that have made money in memes, what do? They invest more into memes, or they go create their memes or do something. It doesn't seem like any of them are talking about creating an NFT or putting money in NFTs. NFT market was driven up so much in 2021, mostly due to the insiders, the ones that made money with NFTs. They put that money into other NFTs, and it was like self-fulfilling, basically. It's the same thing with memes. People that made a lot of money with memes, what do? Put more money into more memes. They're not putting it into anything else. So I don't know if NFTs will come back, to be honest. I don't know. Will it be around streaming tomorrow night's DCA? Yeah, I don't think I have anything tomorrow. I think I'll do DCA night tomorrow. The Theta team has co-founder YouTube and Twitch. Why isn't this project talked about more? Because they kept shooting themselves in the foot. That's why. In 2021, they had all the momentum. I covered them a lot. They introduced a new token. They have a tri-token setup. They actually have a pretty good partners. And then yes, the founders were, some of them worked on Twitch and YouTube, but they just haven't done anything. Twitch TV was a failure. And then they tried to get into NFTs. I remember they tried to branch out into music. They tried to get like Katy Perry to go on. That was a failure. They had a very small team. They couldn't market well. I remember when they reached out and they wanted to do marketing, they had no idea what they were doing. Um, they just couldn't take advantage. They just didn't know what they were doing. I don't know, maybe now things have changed. They added more to their team or whatever, but in 2021, they had all the money in the world and they didn't do anything with it. I mean, they were $14. They were at like 20 billion in market cap, right? No, 13 billion, but still. Well, they can still come back. They're in that DPIN space. Back in 2021, there was no terminology for DPIN, decentralized infrastructure, but now there is. But they're in that space. Will you be a billionaire next second? No, unless I get really really lucky, really really lucky with some memes or something. Crypto Felix, have you checked out Stanley Pup lately? Always showing up and just released a YouTube series. Also, I know you love Florida hustle and heat. Have you thought about moving? No. I would never want to move to Florida, to be honest. I like Miami, but I like it as a vacation spot, not as somewhere to live. And same thing, Orlando. I would never want to live in Orlando. Like, Florida is one of those states I would like to visit for vacation, but nothing else. And no, I've not checked out Stanley Pub because I just don't see any movement at all from them. All memes are kind of pretty decimated, and I haven't seen anything out of them. A little movement. A little movement for Bitcoin. That's good. Sol's back above 140, which is also good. Can we do a 100K party stream? Yes. Yes. Most definitely. I'd say if Bitcoin hits 100,000, I'll probably set up some kind of CRU party, like an in-person party in Vegas or somewhere fun. One Bitcoin hits 100,000, and that's not too far away. Honestly, I think that's like right around November timeframe. We will hit. Oh wow, we're getting some movement right here. I honestly think it's sooner than expected. People are so depressed now, thinking like, "Oh, Bitcoin never hit 100,000." No, it will. It will hit it before the end of the year. I think around October, November, we're gonna see it. Well, we broke above 58. That's pretty good. Leroy, would you buy 1 ETH or put in Bitcoin? I put Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin below 60K to me is a steal, absolute steal, right? So right now, I would put in Bitcoin. We have so many shorts piled on Bitcoin right now. We just need a little push, and man, we're gonna have billions upon billions of shorts being liquidated soon. And that's gonna drive us way high. We're gonna get that short squeeze or multiple short squeezes that'll drive us back above 60,000 and possibly back to that 64,000 mark soon. We just need a little bit. Oh, look at that. Powell says holding rates high for too long could jeopardize economic growth. That sounds pretty dovish to me. That sounds like he wants to cut. He wants to cut soon. What's the prediction? What didn't really move? Yesterday it was like 6 point something percent. Now it's 5%. So it doesn't seem like it's going to happen this month still. But we still have a couple. Got CPI coming out on Thursday. PPI coming out Friday. Got more economic data. That could certainly sway things. We'll see. Do you think Celestia will rebound after the big modular summit 3.0 meeting into the next run? I think Celestia, someone asked me to look at Say, Celestia, Injective. They're all part of the Cosmo ecosystem, right? I do think that they all have great potential. They're all great L1s. No reason why they won't come up after the market starts moving again. The only thing you got to worry about is they all seem to have large token unlocks that will be happening over the next few years. So that may hold them back a little bit. I think Celestia is the same way. Let's take a look. Yeah. Man, a major unlock is happening November, right? Like right now, there's no unlock. But starting in November, they basically double their supply. By the end of 2025, they're almost like triple their supply. I think this will definitely hold back Celestia a little bit. Yeah, their supply almost triples by the end of 2025. Now, again, bull market hits can make up for that, can compensate that, but that is an enormous amount that's being unlocked starting in November. All right, guys, that is it. Overall, stay strong, my friends. Bitcoin will come back. Germany is still selling, but having less and less of an effect on Bitcoin. The big boys are buying because that's what you're supposed to be doing. So do not get feared out in the market. Stay strong, my friends, and I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye-bye. Last question, Han. Thoughts on ETF, ETH ETF? Yep. I think it would be a big catalyst, possibly coming by the end of this month.